Hi besties. So if you didn't see, I already made 2-hour-long videos about abandonment issues, and like the first one cut me off because my phone ran out of storage space. The second one, after like an hour, I was like, you know what, I feel like I'm wrapped up. I feel like I talked about everything, and then even like throughout the day, nothing popped up into my head that like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. And then at 4 in the morning, I was like, there were actually a few more like areas of my life like that I just completely glossed over. So we're gonna keep going. Part 3, baby. Oh my gosh. So yeah, part 1 and 2 mostly focused on like school and work. I talked a little bit about like my parents specifically, but this one I was thinking about like neighbors. I had a lot of neighbors surprisingly that moved away after I got to know them and like became friends. And I was in Girl Scouts, and there were some like I don't know about abandonment. I'll just go through Girl Scouts a little bit, and then also like other family members besides my parents. Like so okay, and I mentioned like my brother's a drug addict, but like that was it. So I could talk a lot more about those things. So I just wanted to start with like neighbors. Like I kind of feel like I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but like yeah, I've had a lot of friends move away. Okay, we get it. But like I don't know, just for the sake of accuracy, I guess. The sake of telling the whole story, because like I started in the first video, I was like, I've never really told anybody like the extent of all of this, and then so I guess like now that I remember these, if I don't make another video about it, then I still haven't really told anybody the whole extent of this, and then it's still like some shameful secret that I have to hide because like I don't have friends and obviously something's wrong with me. So yeah, neighbors. Like I said, my mom didn't want to have kids when she had me, so like I probably like spent a lot of time like outside. I remember being pretty young, like maybe 4 because I remember it, but like I don't know. Yeah, I was very young, and there was a neighbor across the street had like a daughter my age, and we were both outside playing, and then like she invited me to go into her house, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then my mom like came outside looking for me and couldn't find me, and then like got really mad that I went into someone else's house without asking her. I was like 4 years old. I was like, you never told me that I had to, whatever. There was no rule like against it, and she's like, whatever. Yeah, so that was weird. I don't remember ever like hanging out with her again after that because I got in trouble, and then they moved. Like I don't remember how long after, but yeah, I don't think she lived there much longer anyway. And then there was a girl who lived like on the corner of the street that way, and then she was 2 years older than me, and she was obsessed with Frankie Muniz. Like, let me just get that. I've held on to this for so long. She was obsessed with Frankie Muniz, and I'd never seen Malcolm in the Middle, so like I didn't know, but he was on the episode of Lizzie McGuire, and so like I knew who he was, and I think like she was obsessed with Malcolm in the Middle. She was like, I'm gonna marry Frankie Muniz. I was like, okay, like I don't even know who that is. Like me, a young unknown, like I didn't know I was a lesbian, but like I was. Anyway, yeah, I was like, okay, that's weird, have fun with it. But like I kind of would joke around with her about it and be like, no, I'm gonna marry Frankie Muniz, just because like I knew it would like upset her, I guess. Like I just thought it was funny to pretend that I cared about him as much as she did, because like I obviously didn't. But yeah, like she like yelled at me for joking about that. Anyway, she's like, no, he's mine. I was like, okay, sorry. But like we were still friends for a while, and then yeah, like she moved. Oh gosh, okay, so there's another guy. I didn't mention a guy yet, and this is the first time. There's another house like this. So I lived on a cul-de-sac, so I'm my house. There's one house here, and then like another street that way, and then Lexi was like on this side of that street, and then there's a guy like on this, it looped around, so like the end house here. Like there was a family that lived there, and there was a kid like my age. So I think we kind of became close, and also like my godfather moved down the street from us, which was weird. Like the first time I met my godfather, I remember my mom being like, there he is, there's your godfather. And he was just like sitting in a chair, like reclined, and I was like looking at him, and like I expected him to like get up and like maybe like, and she's like, go give him a hug, and I'm like, he's literally like laying down like back, like I'm like, what the okay, like weird. So I had to like climb on, yeah, and like give him a hug. That it was like weird. And like part of me, looking back, I'm like, my mom loved hanging out at their house. Like I don't know, like was that really my godfather? Is it like, did she have an affair? Like I don't know. Sometimes I wonder. I'm like, I feel like my mom could have, I don't know, whatever, I'm not gonna speculate. Anyway, so my godfather lived down the street from us, and he had a son like maybe 1 or 2 years younger than me. So we would hang out a lot, and then like my mom would go, like both of my parents would go down and like hang out with my godfather, and they'd like drink a lot, and then like me and like my sister and I and like my god brother would hang out, and then there were kids that lived down the hill from him. So like my house was like almost at the top of a hill, and then there's so my god brother was down one hill, and then down like the next hill there were these 2 other kids, and they were, one was my age, one was older, and so like the 5 of us would hang out a lot, but like I don't know, eventually my godfather and then the lady who lived at this house, I said family, there wasn't a dad, so like those parents got together, so then like my god brother and like that kid that lived there like became like brothers. Their parents got married, but then they moved away, so like we weren't we didn't like keep in touch. And then like since the other kids were like 2 hills away instead of just like we couldn't meet in the middle, it was too far. We like kind of stopped talking. Yeah, and there also like the kid who lived on the cul-de-sac, there was one time like I guess his mom like couldn't drive him to school for whatever reason. She's like, can you go ask like the neighbors if they'll drive you? And so he like came over, and like he came, and like I guess I let him in, I don't know. My mom would sometimes like walk around like naked, and I didn't like that she did that, but like it wasn't that common. But like I guess this particular morning she happened to walk out without a shirt on, and like without her, like my whole family has terrible eyesight, so like she didn't have glasses or contacts, and so she couldn't see. She was like out in the living room, like probably just trying to like record a show or something. And then yeah, she like, the neighbor kid saw my mom naked. Not naked, she was wearing underwear probably, but like no shirt. And then she got mad at me for it. I'm like, how would I know you were gonna do that? Like she's like, why didn't you tell me he was here? Like why didn't you tell me you were gonna walk around without a fucking shirt on? I didn't know that. So anyway. So yeah, then there was some kids moved in across the street, not the place where that like girl was, the house next door. It doesn't matter that much, but anyway, they were Mormons. They had like 5 kids. One of them, so it was like the oldest daughter, and then there's a younger son, and then a girl my younger sister's age. They were both older than me, and then like the younger sister age, and then there was like a younger son, and then like a little baby. Like I remember one of the first times we went over to their house, they're like a no shoes house, so they're like, can you keep your shoes by the door or something? And then like they're like, but be careful because Clark might chew on them. And I thought Clark was their dog, and then it was like a human baby. It's like, what? Why is your baby chewing on shoes? That's weird. Anyway, so yeah, there was like various times I would hang out with like the various other kids, because there wasn't one my age, there wasn't one in my grade. So like I would sometimes hang out with the older guy because he was like only 1 year older than me. And also like in middle school for 1 year we would carpool because we lived across the street. And then sometimes I'd hang out with like the older girl because we were both girls. And then there was this another house, like near my godfather's house, like just up a little bit on that hill, there was another house, like a family with 2 kids, 1 daughter, 1 son, and they were like kind of around the same ages as everybody. So like they would hang out with us a lot. Like we had a tree in our front yard. A lot of us would like climb the tree and like sit in it, and we'd like claim a branch, and they would like carve their initials into the tree and stuff. So like we were pretty close. And then yeah, just like the oldest girl from across the street and then the girl from down the street and I would hang out, like the 3 of us. And then like one year my mom, for my birthday, she said that I could only invite 1 person to go. We went to like, I don't know if you know what Mount Asia is. It's where they filmed the last scene of Dude, Where's My Car? Not the last scene, but like the like climax. That's a weird word to just bring out of nowhere. It's why are so many words so sexual? Anyway, yeah, the climactic scene is filmed there, but it's like there's a little rock climbing wall when you walk in. There's laser tag. There's like arcade games. There's bumper cars, mini golf. There's like bumper boats. There were bumper boats, not cars, but there was also a little like, I feel like I'm combining too many things because this feels like too much, but I feel like there's also like a little racetrack. That might not, maybe no racetrack, but there's a lot of stuff to do there. It was really fun, but my mom said I can only invite 1 person, and like I'd known the neighbor from like directly across the street longer, and so I invited her, and I didn't think that she would tell the other girl. It didn't occur to me to tell her not to, like, hey, my mom said I can only invite 1 person, so like don't like I don't want her to get her feelings hurt that she can't go, so like but it didn't occur to me that she'd even bring it up. So like, yeah, I guess she brought it up to the other girl, and the other girl was like hurt that like I didn't invite her, but like that wasn't an option for me. I wasn't trying to exclude her. It's just like yeah, so she got her feelings hurt by that. We probably didn't really hang out much after that. Which like I feel bad about because I've been talking about like how I've been feeling like no one invites me to things, and then it's like I also like wasn't inviting her to things. But like that wasn't my choice, you know? So it still sucked. So we kind of like stopped being friends after that. Were there any more? And then the Mormon family ended up moving away. Not that far. They still went to the same schools as us, but they were like living just like in a different neighborhood. But there was also there's one time my parents were out of town for some reason, and they had us like stay with the old neighbors who like lived further away now, which is weird. And then like the guy that I used to carpool with, like we carpooled in middle school, and this was high school that we were staying with them. But yeah, like I was expecting his parents, because I had another girl that I would carpool with, but like she wouldn't. I was like, why would she come pick me up from here? So like it didn't occur to me to tell anybody that like that wasn't happening, because it was so obvious to me. I'm like, she's obvious, like I'm saying here, like your parents used to, like it was just, it made sense to me that like his parents were gonna drive us to school. And so like we were sitting there waiting, like in the morning I was sitting waiting for him, and he was waiting. He's like, is your friend gonna come get us? And I was like, no, I never said that she was, like what? And anyway, like then he had to ask his dad to drive us, and it was like the scariest car ride of my life. He drove so fast. And I thought it was because he was really mad, but like I think he just drives that fast all the time. So it's like, oh my gosh, it was terrifying. Yeah, just like not good. Any other neighbor stuff? There was just the guy who lived directly next door was like friends with my brother. And then like I kind of felt excluded from that group because they were like boys or something. I don't know. But there was also like a man who lived there who would just scream sometimes in the middle of the night. That was not good. Anyway. There were also some neighbors that I liked. They had like a baby. They're like a young couple, and then they ended up moving to, like, I thought it'd be fun to like help, like I'd get to babysit their kids while they were growing up and stuff, and then like they moved after I think their second kid. So yeah, just like these things kept happening. Oh, also there was someone who lived in that house with the kid who's on my mom's boobs. they moved in after someone else, and I'm like, I remember playing in their, like, they had a driveway that like went up, kind of like uphill. And I remember playing like with a skip it, you know, like it was like something you would put the thing around your ankle, and then like there's a thing and it like rolls around and you like jump. Yeah, you twirl your one foot and then jump with this one as it comes over. So like I must have been friends with somebody else who lived there too. But anyway, speaking of, I was talking about the party that like I invited one girl to, and it wasn't a party, it was like a, well, I guess a birthday party, whatever, birthday hangout. But yeah, there was another birthday party that I had that like my mom gave me a different, it was like, instead of going to like Mount Asia, we had the party at our house. And she said you can invite like 9 people or whatever, 9 or 10. And like I chose, instead of just inviting like a bunch of people from school, I chose like a varied range. Like I wanted some kids from school, some neighbors, and some like Girl Scout kids, and like, or girls from my Girl Scout troop. So like then I think I kind of like did the same thing again without realizing. Like I invited like these 2 girls from my Girl Scout troop who I thought would like get along the best with everyone, because like a lot of them are kind of cliquey. But like then they probably like went and asked I didn't think about this then either. They probably asked like, oh hey, are you going to Lauren's party? And then they're like, what? No, we weren't invited. And it's like, so everyone probably thinks I don't like classic. Anyway, but yeah, so my cousin is the same, she's 6 weeks older than me. And my aunt, like when I was a baby, my mom would like have my aunt babysit me, because like she already had a daughter that she was watching, so like it was just easy. And then my sister was born, my mom started like staying home and taking care of both of us. But my cousin and I were pretty close, so like because of that. So she was in Girl Scouts for like the whole time. From the beginning, when you're supposed to join as like a little girl and it's cute, and then like everybody quits after like juniors, and that's when I started. Because my aunt couldn't like pick me up from my school and take me to Girl Scouts like and get there in time. So like she thought about it, but like it didn't work out. Like she thought about inviting me, but then like when I was in 6th grade, we were learning about Egypt, and like my cousin's Girl Scout troop was going to like, there's a King Tut exhibit in town, and so they were going to that, and my aunt invited me to that. And there was like a girl that I just really clicked with, and I was like, I like hanging out with her. So like I wanted to join the troop to like hang out with specifically that girl more. Not that I like, it wasn't like a crush, I don't think. Yeah, it was just like friendship vibes. She was she's a little boy crazy. She always had like some guy that she was talking to, and I was like, okay, but like yeah, we got along, so I wanted to join the troop. So I was in 6th, I think I might have been 5th or 6th grade, but like yeah, most of the girls who like start younger, like start in kindergarten, quit by then. So and then yeah, my cousin was homeschooled, and then there were other girls in the troop that went to a different school, but I was the only girl from my school that was in the troop once I joined. And I'm not the only, there were like a couple other girls who were like the only girl in their school in the troop, or from their school in the troop. And we did have like one other girl from my middle school was in it for like a couple, I don't know, for a little while, but she quit. She was the only black girl, and I feel like it probably felt uncomfortable. And then yeah, I'd see her around school and stuff, but like same with my old neighbor that like was the same grade as me. Like I'd see them around school, but it was mostly just like passing, like on the way to class. I'm like, oh hey, that's someone I know, but like I can't stop and like talk to them, because like I'm on my way to class and they're on their way to another class. So it's like we see each other, but like that's it. We're not like close anymore. Yeah, and then I guess I'll throw in this one. There was like one of my dad's friends, we would go to his house for the 4th of July and stuff like that, like for fireworks and stuff. He had a son my sister's age, so and then a neighbor that was like in between, like 1 year younger than me and 1 year older than them. Her name, she had the same name as me, like we're both named Lauren. Cool. Yeah, so like we weren't really like that close because we would only see each other during like holidays and stuff, like the 4th of July. But like when we did go to their house for the 4th of July, we would like at least like talk and hang out. And then like I think as like when everyone's in elementary school, it's like fine, but then like once someone goes to middle school, then it's like kind of weird. So like I was the only one in middle school and like everyone else was in elementary school. And then like the other Lauren like joined middle school, and so like they kind of like separate, like because they were neighbors, so they were like really close. And then like yeah, then when she went to middle school, then they like became less close. And then so like by proxy, like I became less, like I wouldn't even know how to like get in contact with her. Just the Lauren telepathy, I guess. But yeah, so like that's not even something that I had any control over. But oh yeah, I was talking about Girl Scouts actually. Yeah, so I was the only one from my school after the other girl quit, which is like fine. But like yeah, there were it was just kind of like lonely sometimes because like we'd be in the car and then they'd like, it depends on like how the car seatings were arranged, but sometimes like I'd be in the car with like everyone else from like the same high school, and it's like they're all talking about people I don't know, like classes, and it's just like kind of isolating. And then there was also the fact of like me being like queer and like not knowing it, and then them like all being kind of like, it wasn't just the one girl that was like, she was the most boy crazy like from the youngest age, but then like as we grew up, like more of them were like I would be in the car and they'd be like talking about like blowjobs, and I was like, oh my god, ew. Like I remember sitting at the beach in like 6th grade, there was like a beach camping trip that we'd go to, and I remember like somebody talking about blowjobs, and then so, like everyone's like, ew, that's gross, why would you want it? Isn't that where they pee? Why would you want that in your mouth? And then like in senior year they're like talking about blowjobs. I'm like, ew, you guys betrayed me. Remember we all said we weren't gonna do that. And yeah, I told this story before, but like there was a time like we were all going around telling our celebrity crushes, and like 3 of them said Ryan Gosling, and I couldn't like, I mean I was gonna say Darren Criss, but like part of me knew that like I wasn't physically attracted to him, and I also thought like they wouldn't be, and they think he was ugly, and then, and not like ugly, but like not as attractive as like Ryan Gosling, you know. They'd be like, ew, why him, you know? And so like I lied, said Ryan Gosling, and then someone called me out on it. They're like, you just said that because other people said that. So like yeah, I don't really feel like I fit in with my Girl Scout troop. And then even when I was there, like my cousin was in the troop with me, but then she was homeschooled, and there were like 2 other girls who were like, I don't know if they were homeschooled too, but they were like they kind of gave the homeschool vibe. You know what I mean? So like I think they were kind of like all a little more nerdy than me. Like they were all fans of like Doctor Who and Star Trek and stuff. And then like my cousin got me into Doctor Who, but like yeah, the other girls were like already, like they were just like already into that stuff, so that it just was easier, I guess. So yeah, I was just like, I felt left out a lot of the time in Girl Scouts, just like yeah. And then the other thing I was going to talk about, I might like remember more just like random bits of information, but yeah, the other thing I was going to talk about was family. So I've talked about like my mom didn't want me, my dad is an alcoholic, and they fought a lot. There's like always yelling in the house, and my brother, my older brother, is a drug addict who would like steal money from me. Not good. And yeah, like my parents were always yelling at him for like not getting good grades, or like bringing drugs to school, or lying and stuff. Like, so I was always like, I'm never gonna, like, I don't want to get yelled at, so I'm never gonna do any of those things. And I like did really well in school, and like tried not to like lie and stuff, and then I would still get in trouble for just like random like things that I didn't even consider like a lie. And then my mom was like, you lied, and I was like, okay, I guess, like but yeah, I was like, I'm never gonna get yelled at. I'm gonna try so hard to be like all the things that he's not, and then I still get yelled at. There was a time my brother, like he's a meth addict, and he came back to like the house when I was still living there. My mom was out for the day, and he was like, hey, I'm gonna ask her if I can stay here for like 3 days just while I get clean. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then he like called her on the phone, which like, and told her that he was there. And then she screamed at him like, get the fuck out of my house. And then like a couple years later, I moved out, and then like I had some stuff like in my room that I wanted to get, and my dad told me like, oh, she's gonna be gone, you can probably come pick it up at this time. But I got a little over eager and just left like right away. And so she was driving away still, but she saw my car like drive up the hill to the house, and so she called my sister because my sister was home, and my sister like gave me the phone, and then she screamed at me to get the fuck out of her house. And I was like, okay. And that was like when I went to pick up the stuff that I wanted, and so like I was like, I'm already here, I'm just gonna grab, like, I filled up like 2 little like plastic tubs of stuff and just like left. But there were other things that I kind of like thought about, like, oh, I wish I could have grabbed like my Hunger Games books, kind of like when the other Hunger Games books started coming out. I was like, I kind of want to reread the first ones, and they're like at my mom's house, and like I can't I don't have access to that, you know. So it kind of sucks. But then there were other there was a time when she was like getting mad that like I had a bunch of stuff there, and I was like, okay, well, you like screamed at me to get the fuck out of your house when I went to go pick it up. She's like, well, you can come pick it up now. And I was like, I don't want it now, like I don't need it anymore. Like I wanted my yoga mat. That's what I went there for that day. I was like, I got my yoga mat, I got my like PlayStation that I like, yeah, PlayStation 4, and just like whatever else I could get at the time. So I was like, I got the important stuff. Like I really don't need to reread the Hunger Games. Like if you wanted me to get my stuff, you should have just let me get it when I wanted to get it, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I was like, you can keep my stuff, like leave me alone. So yeah, she's like, come pick up your shit. I'm like, no. Classic. Anyway, so yeah, that's parents. And but then I have my younger sister, so we were pretty close most of the time. Like I realized in the past years, like she started dating this guy that she met at work, and like she would tell me about him before. She's like, oh my god, I like him, blah blah blah. And then like she would say things about him that I was just like, what? Like she's like, I don't know if he voted for Trump or not. And I'm like, how can you like still like him and like consider dating him if you don't, like, can you ask him? Like I still don't know the answer to that. So I'm like, I don't like this this guy. Not that, I mean, he's like fine, he treats her like really well, from what I can see, I guess. I don't know. But like I'm just like, I don't know, I can't get past that. But anyway, so like we were both in college, and then like when we would come home, like she would often hang out with like her friend from like high school. They were really close, but I didn't like hanging out with her because she would always be like, oh my god, that's so gay. And I was like, I'm gay, like stop. Like I don't like hearing that shit. So yeah, I didn't like hanging out with them, and like it got to the point where like when my sister was in town, she wouldn't even tell me. She would just like hang out with them, and like I would text her and my dad like silly little jokes that I thought of and stuff, and like I was just like, I'm never getting texted first, even by my sister. Like I'm sending them little jokes, and like my dad will like send us stuff too, but like I'm like, I never get the reciprocation. Like I don't feel like she cares. Like I don't know, she'd rather spend time with like this girl that like I think is kind of homophobic and her kind of like Trump supporter boyfriend, maybe, I don't know. So like, okay, congratulations. And then like, yeah, he's an engineer, the boyfriend, so like he got a job at like a weapons manufacturer, which I didn't know at the time what they were doing. I thought they were making mostly like planes and stuff. And I'm like, okay. So like, and then she got a job at the company too through him. And also my cousin and her boyfriend were working there, and my uncle. So it was like a lot of people, and I'm like, they're probably just making planes. And then like after like October 8th and so on, like we started learning more about like what they're actually making, and like seeing the effects of like what happens when they're used. So I'm trying to be like discreet here, I guess, but for anyone who's like, what is she talking about? The genocide in Palestine, if you've seen the videos, many videos posted on Instagram of like the horrible attacks, like so the company that everyone was working at was oh my god, they're all the same like shit, like Raytheon, like it was the Edwards Air Force Base in Rosemont. That's where they all worked. I don't know. Can't remember the company. I'm like, I just had it. But yeah, it was like a plane company. Lockheed Martin, I'm pretty sure. Is it Lockheed Martin? So yeah, I was like, they're making planes, and I lived with my cousin at the time, and I would hear the like sonic booms going off. I'm like, I fucking hate living here. This sucks. I don't like this. But like, I didn't know it was like worse. And then yeah, after I found out about like the like bombs and like seeing videos of the damage that they were inflicting, the dead body, the like sliced up bodies. And then I was saying my cousin and her boyfriend, they were all at Lockheed Martin, and then my cousin and her boyfriend went and worked for Boeing. And then I saw the Boeing had that like one thing with like the slicey like blade missile thing, and I was just like, I think once I read that like that was manufactured by Boeing, I was like, oh god, like I think I just blocked, like I was like, I can't blocked all of them, my cousin, her boyfriend, my sister. I was never following her boyfriend. I don't even know if he has an Instagram, whatever. But I was like, I can't like, and I know like my aunt told me that she talked to my cousin before she started working there about the like moral implications of like what it meant, which like to me I was just like, I didn't understand it at the time, like what she was saying. Like I didn't know about the genocide to the extent that I do now. So I was like kind of believing just like, oh, there's just like this endless war in the Middle East or whatever. And I'm like, okay, like, yeah, it kind of sucks. Like I wish that wasn't happening, but like, I guess whatever. Like I just justified it somehow. I was like, okay. And then yeah, it became like too much once I knew what was actually going on. And I was like, the thing is like, they're not allowed to talk about what they do. So like, I could be like, hey, what are you doing at work? Like, are you on the like weapons manufacturing team? Like at the end of the day, I don't think it really matters. And then also they're not allowed to talk about it either. So even if I ask them, they can't tell me. And like, yeah, I stopped talking to my sister. Like, I don't go to like family events so like my dad will be like, oh, I'm gonna go see your sister, blah, blah, blah. There was one time he came back, like, I guess he told her like why I like what I said. I was like, she's working for a weapons manufacturer. I can't like, and then he's like, he came back and kind of snarkily was like, she says she works in the defense department. I'm like, oh, my bad. Okay. Like, do you know the Israel Defense Force is the one that's committing the genocide? Like, you can't just use the word defense and be like America has the biggest fucking military in the whole world. Like, it's not even close. It's who's gonna attack us? Like, nobody's attacking our freedoms. That's a myth. That's stupid. We're attacking everybody else's freedom to live their lives the way they want to. We're going, anytime there's like a communist like or socialist movement, we're going in and like disrupting it, like putting in puppet leaders. I don't know, I hate America. Yeah, so I don't really talk to my mom because like she was like the like most intense like emotional abuser. Like I always blame my dad because he would drink and then my mom would yell at him, be like, well, you're drunk. But then like my dad got sober and my mom didn't, and they would still like fight. And it's like, well, you're not fighting with him because he's drunk now. So like what? So then I kind of realized like, okay, I think there's some, and my therapist told me like when I would talk about my mom, she's like, that sounds like emotional abuse. So it's like, okay, so I can kind of see now in retrospect, it wasn't my dad like was the only one that was bad, and my mom was like this perfect saint who was just like being tortured by him. Like I thought it was like, oh, she's actually like emotionally abusive. Like they're both, you know, like it's not mutual abuse doesn't exist, but like my dad grew up in a home where like everyone was happy, like they all got along. And my mom tells stories about like her older brother, like he was supposed to be babysitting, but he wanted to go to a concert, so he tied them all around the neck, and then like he put a rope around one neck and then like tied the rope around a banister around the other sibling's neck. He's like, don't move, if you move you're gonna kill her, if you move you're gonna kill her, or something, like just really fucked up shit. But like, yeah, so it would make more sense, you know? So like I don't talk to my mom, and she was also like, when I think about like, there was a lot of yelling going on in the house, but when I think about like who was yelling at me, it was always my mom. My dad, like there was one time he got upset with me and he like came to my room and was like, hey, I'm upset about what you did. And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? So like, yeah, it's like, okay, I think my mom might be the problem. So I don't talk to her. I do live with my dad, but I'm still like kind of like having issues currently. But like it's fine. I know he loves me. He wanted to have kids. He's like the reason anyway. But then like I get into these spirals where I'm like, I wish I was never born. Like I wish, like, you know the episode of The Fairly Odd Parents where Timmy wishes he was never born, and then like everyone's life is better. And then he has to wish like that he had been born, and then Jorgen von Strangle's like, you're selfish. And like, it's like, what the heck? That kind of probably messed me up as a kid, because like I would fantasize. I was like, I bet like if I was never born, like my parents would be happier, like everyone's life would be better. So yeah, and then I kind of start getting in that spiral, like I wish I was never born. And then like I start blaming my dad, because I'm like, he's the only one who even wanted me. Like my mom didn't even want to have kids. If it were up to her, I wouldn't have to have like dealt with all this shit. So then I'm like, oh, it's all his fault, you know what I mean? Yeah, and then let's see, other relatives I've had, like my dad has 5 brothers, but like I can't, there was one, okay, so we were living with him for like 2 years after my grandma died, because he lived with my grandma for like 20 years and my grandpa while he was still alive, for a while. He lived to be 90. He had a stroke when he was 59, and then he lived to be 90 years old. And my grandma lived to be 97. So my uncle was living with them, caretaking and stuff, and then like my grandma died. I moved in. Like I hate this uncle. I hate him so much. Like I don't even, I feel like I shouldn't even like say this. But the thing is, he prefaced it. He's like, don't tell anyone I told you this. And he told me this 2 separate times. And he's like, don't tell anyone I told you this. So just because he doesn't want me to tell you, I am gonna tell you. He was like, okay, so he has this, like, I've never heard this stereotype before about Armenians being, like, bad drivers or, like, driving too fast. But he's like, Armenians drive too fast. They're, like, killing kids by hitting them with their cars. And the only solution, I've never heard any, I don't think that's true. Anyway, he's just being racist. But he's like, the solution to this would be, like, if Armenians started hitting Armenian kids with their cars, then that would teach them to drive slower, because they don't care about kids of other races getting hit by cars. I was like, you know who it sounds to me like they don't care about kids of other races getting hit by cars is the guy who's saying that they should, you know? I was just like, you're so fucking stupid. I hate him. And like, yeah, that's the only story. He doesn't deserve another story. So that's him. So like, I would refuse to like spend any time. He'd be like, I'm going out to dinner, do you want anything? I'm like, nope, just don't fucking, like, leave me alone. You don't exist to me. I'm not here. Leave me alone. So yeah, I don't talk to him. He moved, like we all lived in that house, and then like that was my grandma's house. All the other 4 brothers who didn't live there were like, we need to sell this house. And then so like my dad and my uncle that lived there, like we're like, we need to find another place to live. So my dad and I like we moved to the Midwest, and then my uncle was like looking at other places, and then he like hadn't figured anything out yet, and then he ended up moving to the same place that we did, and like he's not that far, he's like down the street. And like my dad and I went to dinner like pretty close by one time, and we were walking out, and then my uncle like was like, oh hey, and I was like, I don't know anyone who lives around here, this isn't for, and I was like, oh my god, why is he fucking here? Why? So he's like, hey, and he's like, oh, Lauren, I haven't seen you in a while. I'm like, yeah, that's because like he moved out here. Like I knew he moved out here before. That wasn't just like a surprise. Like he asked me, he has 2 dogs, which like I was trying to help him take care of while we were there, but like first of all, I was like, why did you get 2 giant Bernese Mountain Dogs for a 94-year-old woman who's like not gonna be alive to help you take care of them for very long? So he's like complaining that they're shedding all over the carpet, and like he's like, I need you to help me like sweep and vacuum. I'm like, I'm not the one who bought 2 fucking huge Bernese Mountain Dogs for a like Southern California climate. They're not supposed to be living there. They're shedding so much because it's too hot for them. Like, this is not my fault. I'm not helping you clean up all their fucking hair all the time. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was like, but like he would leave sometimes and like have me watch, like feed the dogs while he was gone. So I was like kind of taking care of them. So he was like, hey, I need to go like furniture shopping or something. Can you watch the dogs? And I was like, no, I'm busy. That was it. I didn't actually have plans, obviously, because I don't have friends. Like whatever. But I was like, I am gonna be busy. Like I'm gonna be doing something. So I was just like, no, I'm busy. And that was like the last I've heard of him. And then I'm like into astrology and stuff, and like I watched a couple of videos about like how to make sigils. I watched one TikTok in particular. There was like this woman and her husband, and she was saying that like she made a sigil so that like her mother-in-law couldn't like find their house, and like yeah, the husband was like affirming like, yeah, everything, like every time she wants to come here, she has to like get somebody else to drive her. Like she cannot like figure out how to get here on her own or something. Like so yeah, she like, I think she walked through like how she made that sigil or something. That was like a long time ago that I saw that, but like it popped up in my head like when I knew he was here, and like he's like trying to invite himself over to like see our house and like get a tour, and like, you know, he's like, I want to come by and see it. And so like I made a sigil that like, yeah, just like to keep him away. And like he was texting my dad like, after I do this, like I'm gonna go to the library and like print something or whatever, or use their Wi-Fi. I don't remember what he needed, but my dad was like, oh, he asked if he could come here and use whatever it was, and my dad's like, oh well, we're out, but you can use the printer. And then so he was like, oh, I'll be at the dog park for whatever, however long, and then so I'll come by after that. And then so like then we got back, I made the sigil, and then like we hadn't heard from him like the rest of the night about coming over, and I was like, yes. So anyway, so that's cool. There's like another uncle. He used to be my favorite uncle. Oh, that uncle used to be like when I was really little. Like I remember we went on a vacation to like Florida, and like I was like, he's my favorite uncle. And he would like take us out on the sailboat and stuff. But yeah, like as I got older and like more politically aware, like realized like, oh, he's like racist. And then like anytime I try to like argue with him, he's just like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory, that's not true, that like that. And I'm like, I just learned this in my college class, but like, okay, like whatever. Like the CIA brought like crack into black neighborhoods. Like I brought that up once at Thanksgiving dinner, and he's like, that's a conspiracy. I'm like, okay, cool. That's why my teachers are teaching in my college class. That's why the CIA like admits it on their website. Okay, cool, bro. Like, so like, yeah, there was another time, one of my uncles asked, like, I think I just turned 18, and he was like, oh, who are you gonna vote for? And it was like, I was a Bernie bro. Oh no, I was like, when I was 18, okay, so this was when I turned 21 actually. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I was a Bernie bro. I was like, it's like, who are you gonna vote for? But I didn't want to just be like Bernie Sanders, you know. I was like trying to like play it cool. I was like, yeah, whoever's gonna raise the minimum wage. And he's like, actually, raising the minimum wage is bad. And I was like, oh, okay. So like he stopped being my favorite uncle because I was like, you're an like, I'm an economics major. Like people can't spend money if they don't have money, you idiot. So I was like, he's not my favorite uncle anymore. Yeah, and then like, okay, going back to like abandonment issues for a little bit, like his daughter, my cousin, they live like an hour away, and so like we'd see each other during like family like holidays and stuff, like Christmas, and then like leaving was always so sad because it's like we're not gonna see each other again for so long. So like we invited the cousins over to like sleep over, And then yeah, like they had the daughter and then they have a younger son too. So like I guess the son like stayed in my sister's room with her and the daughter stayed in my room with me, and I had a waterbed and she didn't like that. And she also like missed her mom so much. She like couldn't stop crying. I don't know if it's because of the waterbed or because of her mom. But yeah, she was like crying. She's like, I miss my mommy. And I was like, I could not fathom. Like, I loved going to sleepovers, like not having to see my mom. Like there was one time, my mom's sister has a daughter like 1 year younger than me, like 1 year older than my sister, so we're pretty close. And we went to stay at her house one night, and I think like every time my mom came to pick us up, we're like, can we stay one more day? And we ended up staying for like 3 days. So that was awesome. So she's like, I miss my mommy, and I'm like, I can't, that's so foreign to me, like I cannot imagine feeling that way. But yeah, I think like her parents ended up coming and like picking them up like in the middle of the night. And then like, okay, now that I'm thinking about it, I have some cousins who live in like Northern California, and then like most everyone else lives in Southern California. But like it seems like I have cousins who in Southern California who like see the Northern Californian cousins more often than the other, like than they saw us. And it was like, what how does that make sense? Anyway, I was just like, I don't know, like every aspect of my life I just feel like I'm on the outskirts, and like people don't actually care about me, and they would be like happier if I wasn't there, and like just in yeah. And then also like there's some people that I feel like do like me, but like I'm aware that like our values are like, because my uncle when he saw me was like, oh Lauren, I haven't seen you in a while, and I'm like, yeah, because I fucking hate you, because like our values, like you don't value the same things as me, you don't value like human life at all. You value like whiteness, like congratulations. I don't want to spend any time with you. So like there's some people who like I'm aware like do like me, but I don't like them. And then it's like there's some people who like me but are just like too busy to like be texting all the time, like so like I'm aware of that. I'm aware that like I'm not just like the loneliest person in the whole world, and like no one loves me, and like I'm just doomed forever. Like I'm aware of these things, but like it's just hard, like when you have like when something triggers one of these things, and it just becomes like this like reinforcing like just negative spiral basically, that ends to like, it's like, oh, this one person didn't text me back, and then it's like, well, this is just like all the other people who didn't text me back, which is just like all the friends I've lost, and then it's like I should have never been born. So I don't know how to like stop this spiral, besides just being like, it doesn't matter, like some people just don't have friends, like it doesn't matter, like you just gotta get over it. Or like, because I don't want to just keep thinking like maybe it'll happen one day, like maybe one day in the future I'll meet somebody who like becomes my best friend for the rest of my life. Like I don't think that's really like reasonable either. Like people grow apart, you know? But like I don't know, it's just sad. And I see like other, like we just moved, and then like the neighbors across the street now, they like they brought over a little welcome sign when we first got here, and so like that was really nice. And my dad started he's like, I want to be nice to them, and like every time it would snow he would bake something and then like bring it over to them. But like since that first time they haven't like, and then we also we invited them over to dinner one night. My dad made soup and we had them over, and like they've never like reciprocated, which isn't like necessary, you know what I mean? But like I don't know, they have people over all the time, like I see like them hanging out with people, and like I don't know, not that I think I'm like older, I don't know how old they are, but I think they're like significantly younger, like in their early 20s, and I just turned 30, and I'm like I don't really want to be hanging out with a bunch of like 20-year-olds, you know? But like yeah, it's just kind of, I'm aware like they look at them hanging out with their friends all the time, and like should I be doing like it, yeah. And then like we got, with the day that we got here, the person, there was someone next door who said that like her dad lived in the house but he had just died, so like they were renovating the place for a while, and like the new people that just bought it, they just moved in like maybe like a couple weeks ago, like 2 weeks maybe, I don't know. But yeah, like I haven't met them. The guy introduced himself, like he came over and like borrowed something from my dad, and he came over and like returned it, and I heard them talking at the door, and I was like, I guess I'll go say hi. So like I met him for like a second, and like I don't know his fiance, but like I can see them on the porch, and like again, like they they like had their friends like help them move in, and I can see them like hanging out on the porch with their friends sometimes, and I'm like, oh my god, like I just feel like such a dork. Like I don't know. It's fine. I have my phone. I can just sit here and talk to my phone camera, and then some strangers on the internet will hear it. So thanks, strangers on the internet, for watching my sad abandonment issues. Watch out for part 4 tomorrow, probably. Just kidding. When I realize that actually, I don't know. I can't even think of like another aspect of my life where like this would have happened. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Hopefully this is the last video that I have to make like this. I didn't have to make any of them, but I don't know, I felt called to, just in case other people like feel similar. They know that they're not as alone as they feel, or whatever people like to say. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating when people are just like, you're not alone, but it's like, okay, but like it feels like I am. Like who, like they like reach out and talk to somebody, and it's like, who? Like nobody responds. Like I don't know. Like I don't know. I guess I'll just keep you updated for what happens. If I ever make a friend, I'll let you know. But for now, I'm making my own. I made 9 friends right here. Making a 10th. This is 1, 11. Got 11 friends, guys. Just kidding. Anyway, I'm gonna stop now. Free Palestine, free Sudan, free Congo, free all the press beings everywhere. And I have other stuff that you can watch and links if you want, or not. Have a good day. Bye.